This message is for you if you've been feeling like you've been confronting a lot of fear lately. Like, we've been going through some really dark times here on Earth, and every single person, every single human has been confronted with a lot of anxiety, insecurity, and fear, a lot of like really dark moments. Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm a quantum healer, past life regressionist, and E&M coach. I'm super excited to share the following transmission that you're about to see. It is a recording from a quantum healing session that I did with a very special client. We were using a quantum healing technique that involves first going through a past life regression, and then after that regression, we will speak to the client's higher self. In this session, we were going through her past life first, and we went through a few different past lives. It started becoming really clear that this was a message that needed to be shared with a larger audience. And the context is always that we're speaking directly to her in her past life. So we're speaking to the character in the past life that's experiencing the life as it happens. But you'll notice that as we continue speaking to this character, her character starts to shift a little bit, and it's almost as if we begin to speak to a higher source. Intuitively, I can tell that we were speaking to some sort of higher entity, and I would describe it as being likely a mixture of her higher self, her guides, and whatever counsel is helping her from above. So the background is that she was a woman walking through the desert, escaping some sort of patriarchal society. She was born into a lot of wealth, but had sort of cast that all aside to go and find something greater. So she was just walking through the desert, and she comes across this incredible pyramid. And the pyramid sort of invites her in, and it becomes clear that the pyramid is some sort of healing center. It's a very extraordinary healing center that has been created by something other than humans, so that people looking to find something greater or looking to get away from, the 3D matrix society could find a place to discover what's truly beyond. So as we're exploring this pyramid, I start asking her, as this woman character, questions about who built this pyramid and why is this pyramid here? And she starts giving some really important information about not only the purpose of the pyramid, but also what's actually happening here on Earth right now. Who built it?
They did. The Hang on. Mm, the cedars of Earth, of humanity, when they oh, this was one of the benevolent groups that wanted to help humanity after the genetic alterations.
Okay.
They built it.
And they're called cedars?
They're called cedars or planters or guardians.
Okay.
They have humanity's best interest at heart. They want us to walk this path. They want us to reach our potential. They built this for those who are willing to do that, knowing that it would be needed. They're saying there are others that were part of the facilitating of genetic alterations who did not have human life at the forefront, but rather slavery in mind. They constructed a world where humans never left the communities and societies so that they would never find what they didn't want them to seek in the first place.
Hmm. That happened a long time ago.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, this was hominid species, Homo habilis,
Hmm. Okay.
before it was manipulated genetically.
Hmm. Homo habilis.
Homo habilis was manipulated genetically to create a new branch that would ultimately become Homo sapien with extraterrestrial DNA, 22 strands.
Mm.
And hang on, they're telling me more. The geneticists, there were benevolent geneticists who cared for humanity and wanted to watch it prosper and grow. At the same time, there were manipulative geneticists, more so military than they were scientists. The scientists were benevolent and caring and compassionate. The military, the Lord, who called himself God, wanted humanity as slaves for harvesting gold and ultimately turned into the harvesting of human life force, sacral energy,
Mm.
something that is deeply cherished and valued across all timelines and dimensions and all galaxies as the most valuable currency in existence, human life force energy.
Hmm. What is it about human life force energy that's so special?
We carry the codes of multiple extraterrestrial DNA strands,
Hmm.
which makes us genetically compatible with multiple civilizations in existence.
Uh,
We carry the capacity for human emotion, which has been bred out
hmm.
of many civilizations.
Hmm.
It is our life force energy that is directly connected to source consciousness. We have a direct link that many civilizations have bred out,
Uh,
which is leading them to create artificial life in an attempt to bring back the ability to carry life in the womb. But humans are special in that the womb is a sacred connection portal.
mm-hmm.
It is our blood that is so precious.
Uh, uh-huh. So when we were back when there was Homo habilis, that was before we were genetically manipulated to be like imprisoned in a way.
Yes, there were, hang on. There were other alterations in place before Homo habilis. However, the manipulation that took place that created the splice in Homo habilis was with the intention of creating an enslaved species of humans.
Mm-hmm.
That was the difference. We were not imprisoned before.
Yeah. And what is it about this genetic alteration that imprisons us? How does it actually work?
It's not the genetic alteration that imprisons us, it is the intent with which it was created.
Um,
It was the beings who farm. I'm seeing a farm. Hang on. The genetic alteration was meant to create a slave species for the purpose of harvesting minerals on Earth that are valuable to other star systems. And they created this slave species with parts of themselves for intelligence reasons and for mating reasons, genetic compatibility. We were always meant to prosper as our own civilization, as our own species. However, this was corrupted by military forces outside of the scientists, outside of the geneticists. They were themselves cast out of Earth by the oppressive powers who decided to keep humans enslaved and still do to this day on Earth.
Is there any hope for humans to escape this enslavement?
Yes, we are. It is a convergence of timelines taking place on the planet as we speak. What is happening is, hang on, there's a lot of information. We have to realize our own connection, our own life force energy, and what makes us so valuable to the cosmos. We do not do this by worshiping somebody or something outside of ourselves. We do this by raising our vibration internally. This is an inward process. We must remember who we are. Once we do that, we can then liberate ourselves from the confines. It is an individual process that bleeds into the collective, into the greater consciousness at play. There will be multiple timelines splitting off. What will happen, what will be experienced, is dependent upon the path that you consciously choose to place your awareness on. There will be a lower vibrational timeline that will erupt in chaos and war. There will be factions that go off to ultimately breed out all feminine energy and therefore lose the capacity to reproduce. These will turn into other species. We refer to some of these sects as the Greys, although not all of them. This is one specific sect who will then tunnel back into timelines where humanity has ample feminine energy to collect samples, to attempt to create a new hybrid species. Their attempts will not be as successful as they hope. Others will take part in these programs and be successful. This is a crucial point in our history where we are all still operating as one on Earth, as one humanity, before we go on to these other timelines. There is a higher timeline unfolding right now that is currently being anchored onto Earth. This is what I am here for. Hang on. There is there's a timeline that is needing to be cemented, is the word, that is needing to be cemented and anchored onto the Earth at this time. And that timeline involves the rejoining of galactic communities and civilizations, just as it was before Homo habilis was genetically altered. We will rejoin our brothers and sisters across all timelines. And this is happening right as we speak.
It's already
so happening. Yes, the war has energetically been won. However, everything that is energetic precedes that which is physical. We still have to play it out here. And that is what we are currently facing on the precipice of these timelines converging and presenting themselves in physical manifestation. We're about to witness the unfolding.
Okay. And what will that be like for humans on Earth? Like, what will humans in this higher timeline perceive as this war unfolds? Will we actually see war? Will we see fighting? Will there be destruction?
There will be destruction. The war will not look like what we would think it to look like. It will be a war on consciousness. Discernment will be key in these times, as there will be many false narratives presenting themselves. There are dark forces behind the military industrial complex, government. There are dark forces at play that will manipulate a narrative
Mhm.
to keep us rooted in fear and low vibrational patterns, to keep us dependent on somebody outside of ourselves to save us. There will be multiple people on earth who do experience war in a more physical way. Many will not experience a physical war, but rather chaos and the dismantling of systems and structures as we know them, knowing that there are higher forces at play. The ability to witness this free from fear is the ability that we are being called to step into through raising our own vibration. It is an inner knowing that will present itself to us when this unfolds more physically.
Mm. Okay.
This is what we are all being asked to prepare for right now.
Ah, so we will each have to fight in this war in a way through our consciousness.
Very much so, yes.
I see.
And it is, again, an individual basis
Hmm.
for what is right for the individual. Not everybody will be fighting the same war in the same way.
Hmm. Okay.
You need to align to what is true for you, not what is true for others that surround you. That's what I keep hearing.
Okay. Align with your individual truth.
Correct.
Okay.
And what they're saying is truth is stranger than fiction.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
You
you.
are loved. You are supported by realms that you are not aware of. You will be seeing this physically. We want you to know there is nothing that is not possible.
Mm.
That is all.
Thank you. This feels especially timely and relevant,
Yeah,
as we were shifting through some really difficult times in like politics and world
it's
news.
evolving.
Yeah, totally. It's been really hard, like wading through a lot of this muck, and
Oh my God, totally.
this revelation that this is actually part of, like, I knew that this was part of the elevation. Like, I knew that this was the darkness that was going to bring us into the light. But I think kind of like hearing it explained in a different way,
Yeah.
like it's actually the individual choices that we make in our minds, like
Yeah.
in our consciousness. It's
Yes.
not even like the physical action so much, although, your mind leads to physical actions, but it like starts inside here. Like this is where the war is happening. It's not like someone's doing it.
Exactly. It's like a psyop. I mean, it's they've explained to me it's very much so about us on an individual basis reaching, like raising our own vibration, as we've talked about, through our own inner work and inner healing and transcend. It's being fearless is not about not having fear. It's about transcending that fear, knowing that you still have it and holding space
Yes.
for it.
Yes.
And they're saying like, once you can do that, then you're essentially like their fifth density. They've explained all this to me with like spirit and them, they're operating in fifth density and above. And
Mhm.
if we can get ourselves to fourth density, which is where they're like, we got you, you're at fourth density now, which is just being more in tune with, all the things that you and I are talking about, then we can meet in the middle. But it's up to you to get yourself up here for us to then kind of pull you out into this higher timeline.
Uh-huh. That makes sense. Right.
Yeah,
And there are forces that want to keep us down there, right?
totally. Because that's what we're a food source for them.
Yeah, yes. And so this is like manifesting in individual experiences, though. I think that's like the interesting part. Like it's
Yeah.
manifesting as these like individual experiences that you wouldn't like suspect to be part of some like greater movement.
Totally.
Right?
I mean, I never would have guessed, because like in September, they were showing me images of like Trump winning, and they were also showing me, this was in September, and they were showing me Elon, and they were showing me the US merging with Russia and Nazi Germany to form a one world government.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Which we're literally watching unfold right now. And I was seeing all this in September, and I was like, what is happening? And they were showing like a big facility in New Mexico and Texas, which I'm like, that's Stargate. And like that they're pouring, you know, $500 billion into. And they were showing me like all these different timelines unfolding. And like how the image they were showing me in September was like me, like as a girl, like a little girl, like marching up to this like governmental facility, like with all this military there, and basically like taking my hands out like this, and just like I was doing some sort of spell, like casting them out in some way. And I was like, what does this mean? And they were like, what you're doing here is a part of something that is so much bigger than you realize. And I didn't know how that interfaced with extraterrestrials and with, you know, with the politics going on with the deep state. Like and I didn't even know there was a deep state until they came in and told me all of this. And so I was just feeling like I was going crazy, because I was like, nobody else in my life is talking about this or is aware of this.
Wow.
And here I am getting all this information that I know is true, but I have no way to prove it.
Wow. And now it's all unfolding. I hope you enjoyed that transmission. I personally found it incredibly profound. It has already been changing the way that I've been moving through my life and dealing with my fear challenges. So I hope that it helps you too. And if you are interested in working with me or trying your own quantum healing session, either through a virtual session or in person, please visit my website, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, see you in the next video.